Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. As you can see, we're gonna be doing Star Trek 2009 version 4K UHD Blu-ray. This is gonna be a Xbox One S version first of a 4K UHD player, and then we're gonna go ahead and switch back to Samsung K-8500. I'll be using 1080p 60 frames per second camera, so that way you guys can see the frame rates a little bit better on the movie. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's start one scene in the movie for about 2 minutes, and then we're gonna do the same thing with Samsung K-8500 and do the same exact thing with the same scene. Here we go. Okay, so this is the display menu of the movie. Here, let me give you a better angle right here so you can see it. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start a chapter. Remember, this is the Xbox One S version of Star Trek 2009 J.J. Abrams movie version that was released. A reboot, if you will. Okay, so we're going to start with this scene right here, Chapter 9 on Xbox One S. And then we're going to switch it back, the same scene, to Samsung K-8500. But remember, this is the Xbox One S version of the 4K UHD Blu-ray player. Here we go. It looks good, by the way. I mean, you got to remember this movie was released in 2009, and there was a lot of grain in the movie purposely, but here, right here, we can see the detail right now. Right here, when he's climbing up that ice. This is where you truly see the detail in the movie. Right here. There it is. And this is why I was telling people that sometimes that high dynamic range 10-bit only works in certain scenes. Okay, like here, for example, you clearly can see his wounds where he got hurt by the eye, where he got hit. And then here you can see a little bit of blues in the cracks of the ice. And even here you can see in the distance, you can see how the smoke gets a little bit darker and bluer and bluish, and his face, it's more like reddish because it's cold. So that's where, you know, high dynamic range comes into place. Obviously, I don't have high dynamic range. I'm just telling you that's how this movie would look if it was, you know, if I had high dynamic range, but I don't. And I'm not claiming that I have high dynamic range, and I never did. But you also have to keep in mind this movie is encoded in 10-bit color high dynamic range. And I know a lot of you guys want to shit on the comments and say that I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about, man. I don't have high dynamic range, nor am I claiming it that I have it. Don't take the words out of my context. There. Yeah. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same exact scene with the Samsung K-8500. The one thing I noticed, honestly, is there's a lot of grain in this movie. And I don't think if high dynamic range is gonna help that much when you have this much grain, because remember, some movies are purposely made with a grain. They put a lot of that grain inside a movie. And the flares. Okay, here where you can see the colors pop out a little bit, you know. And when I talk about high dynamic range, guys, please keep in mind, I'm just giving you my opinion on the reference how high dynamic range would look. I know my TV doesn't have it. And you know, I'm not trying to tell people that I do have it, because I don't. But I've seen how high dynamic range looks. I'm not an idiot. I know what it does. I know what 10-bit color gamut is. All right, well, there you go, guys. That's Leonard Nemoy. So we're gonna go ahead and switch back to Samsung K-8500. All right, so we are back with Samsung K-8500. And the reason I turned the lights off, so you guys can have much better viewing angle of the scene. So we're gonna go ahead with the same scene, and we'll do the same thing like we did with the Xbox One S version. And just to show you that it is K-8500, it's right here. There it is. That's the K-8500. All right, let's go ahead and let's do this. All right, here's the same scene that we just did. This is Samsung K-8500. Remember that scene that I did? It's the same exact scene. It's going to be same exact running time. What is the difference here? Okay, the one difference that I noticed, honestly, and that's just my opinion, I noticed that on Samsung K-8500, the darks are much deeper. Like, you can clearly see darks being deeper instead of Xbox One S version. But it's not like a huge difference, guys. I mean, it's not like, even if you buy Xbox One S, it's still a good entry-level 4K UHD Blu-ray player. For $300, you cannot go wrong. This is just more advanced because it has a surround sound. You know, it has more pass-through on a surround sound. So if you want to use Dolby Atmos or DTSX, this 4K UHD Samsung K-8500 will give you that home theater experience, while the Xbox One S won't give you that home theater experience. I mean, you still have some sound coming out of it, but it won't be like a crystal clear sound. All right, so we're going through the same scene, same angle, and I don't know. The only difference I notice is that the darks are much deeper, man, on this version. And I know I'm doing the best I can, but here, clearly you can see that the darks are much deeper in this movie, especially in this scene now. And you probably noticed something. What I just did on my TV, I used this calibration on Samsung K-8500. I clicked automatic calibration, and what it did, automatically calibrated the picture. So I don't know if that helps. Here, let me give you a little bit better angle right here. I mean, it looks good. It's not the greatest transfer ever. I mean, it's a decent 4K transfer. Honestly, you're not gonna be like wowed by this movie. You know, not every 4K UHD movie is gonna look that great. Granted, you'll have much better bit rate, much better detail, and high dynamic range does help. But if I look at Star Trek Into Darkness and I compare it to this movie, I would say Star Trek Into Darkness looks much better, because Star Trek Into Darkness was shot with a different cameras, with a more high fidelity cameras. This one, I don't know, maybe it was shot in 2K, mastered into 4K. I don't know all the details, but still, this is a great 4K transfer. You know, it's not the greatest, but it definitely gets the job done. Okay, so then we're gonna end it right here on this scene. There's Leonard Nemoy, and well, there he is. Man, he's such a great actor, man. Such a good person. It's really sad that he passed away. Such a great guy, man. I wish everybody could be like this guy. The world would be a better place if we had him. Rest in peace, Leonard Nemoy. Wherever you are, brother. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do a final thoughts on this, how I feel, and